Hey everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shane. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video where we're going to go and make another one of the Christmas soaps. And this time we're going to make Sugar and Spice. Now this is a soap that I have made for the last couple of years and I almost didn't make it again this year. But with everything that's been going on, I was trying to keep things simple, so I just thought we'll recreate it. And it is also one of my more popular Christmas soaps that I do each year. So let's go and see how I make Sugar and Spice soap. Let's go. Okay, it is time to start making Sugar and Spice soap. It is a Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of cars going by outside, so we'll see how much that actually affects the camera. I'm still learning this sort of thing as I'm going along. All right, I've just poured my lye water into my oils. I'm going to give it a mix up and then we'll split it out for some colours. Alright, so that is mixed up. It's just been emulsified there, not quite at light trace, and that just gives me that little bit of extra working time. Now into this pot here I've got some titanium dioxide that's already been dissolved in some water. I'm going to pour off a fair amount because I do want some of this for the very top of the soap. And in this one here, my favourite gold extravagance. And we'll probably go for about half a pot in that one there. And into my main pot, I'm going to use some of this Sahara Mica. The fragrance oil I'm using, which is a Sugar and Spice one, it actually does go very dark brown. It's the same fragrance that I use to colour my gingerbread. You'll actually see how dark this one goes when I show you the embeds. I'm going to get these colours mixed in. We'll start with that white. Alright, so here's my fragrance oil now. Because it does go really dark, I'm not going to put any in my complementary colours there. I'm just going to pour it all into the main batter here. And I know I've been saying on quite a few of the Halloween and Christmas soaps, I do not like those cinnamon scents. But this is one of the very few cinnamon Christmassy scents that I have found that I actually do like. I can't burn it in candles or anything because it gives me a bit of a headache when I do because of that cinnamon sort of smell. But it's one of those, it doesn't actually turn my stomach when I smell it. And I think it's because it's not only has it got those traditional sort of smells of cinnamon, clove, nutmeg and all of those, and it's got a little bit of vanilla too. It's also got this real sweet kind of currant undertone to it, and it just smells like fresh baked goodies at Christmas. It really is a nice fragrance. It behaves fairly well too. I've used it for the last, well, this is my second Christmas using this fragrance, and the reason I choose this one in my Bath and Body is because it is basically one of the very few in Australia that we can get at Christmas that is also body safe with those tones in it. So that's why we've gone for this one again. I'm pretty much going to go for a drop, I think. I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm being indecisive. I am going to try and go for a bit of a swirl, and then I'm going to keep some of this colour for the top as well. Yeah, I'm just going to pour and see what actually happens. I don't want to use all my white because I do want a fair bit on the top so that all of the embeds pop out. So we'll just do that. We'll put some gold in here. And at the moment the gold's not really going to stand out in this, but when all my colours change, in fact we're going to use more of that gold, when the colours go darker as it cures, that gold will actually really pop on this brown. Now, as I said in my last Christmas video, I get better swirls if I pour my soap up and down, so I'm going to move that around. Let's try and make sure it stays in the mold. I'm not going to get too much because I've got a bit too gentle, I think. I'm not going to get much of a swirl. I've been making such a mess making soaps lately. I'm trying not to with this one. Let's get these buckets scraped out. while I was scraping it, I'm thinking, I know I didn't get any swirls, so I'm just gonna put the chopstick through. I really just want swirls in my soaps. I like swirls in soaps. So done that. I think with what's left with this gold, I'm going to pour it into this white. It's still nice and fluid. In fact, no, we won't, because it's only a small amount. I'm being indecisive today, which is not a good thing, because it's not just soap making I then become indecisive about. It's things like going home and having to cook dinner, and I won't be able to decide what to do for that, and we'll have like half a dozen different we might haves. Oh, I actually like how that, it wasn't what I was intending. I was kind of going for a bit more of a thicker frosting, but I actually like how that's looking. I just want somewhere that my little embeds can sit and not get lost on that brown soap, which is why I wanted a fair bit of the white. Plus, I always associate sugar and spice sort of things with lots of white frosting, you know, the gingerbread houses and all that sort of thing. I really like this little spatula, but it's just not bendy enough to get enough scraping action. It leaves so much behind in the pot, whereas I like these blue ones I get from IKEA. They do two different types of spatulas in IKEA, and if they're pretty boring because they're just blue and a brownish handle, but these are actually number 5 plastic, whereas the pretty coloured ones are not a number 5 plastic. So you find that if you use the other ones, you see me use them in my lotions, if you use those with soap making, eventually the soap erodes the plastic handle where it joins and they snap apart, whereas with these, because they're the sort of plastic that they tell you to use in soap making, never had a problem with them. All right, I'm going to pour some of this gold on here too, just wherever it goes, because I am going to put a chopstick through and get a bit more swirly action in there. It's not often I say it about soaps, but that is looking pretty delicious. All right, let's get these embeds on. Okay, so I've got my little gingerbread embeds, and you can see they are actually quite dark, and they started off this really light brown when I first make them, but they do come up this sort of darker colour, but they do discolour at sort of different rates, so we'll see what happens in the soap. I also have some little gumdrops here as well, and I think what we're going to do is pop, as I've done in the past, we're just going to pop a little, it's not solid enough yet, so we're going to have to leave it for a minute or two. Alright, so that side's not heavy enough to hold a little gingerbread right now, so what I'm going to do is actually come along here and we're going to add on 3 little gumdrops, and then by the time we are ready to put our little gingerbreads on, it should be set up enough. So I'm just going to go with the 3 here, and all I've done is these little gumdrops here, I've done them in a purple, yellow and green, because you know, yeah, they're not very Christmas sort of colours, but they are some very traditional colours that you do find in the gumdrops. And all I've done is I've taken some soap dough. They're about 1.5 grams each. I roll them up into a ball and then flatten them out into the shape I want. And then once I've done that, I popped them into my little container here with just about, it was less than 1/4 of a teaspoon of some Blizzard mica, and then I just gave it a really good shake to get the mica to cover the soap dough. So I'm just going to go along and pop all of these on here, and then hopefully, as I said, when we finish, the soap should be set up enough that we can pop our little gingerbreads on. Alright, let's see if this top is now going to hold the little gingerbread men. Oh yes, it's much thicker now, so we will be able to get them in here. Okay, so there it is. Sugar and Spice is in the mold. I am loving the colours it is at the moment, and I wish it would stay this colour. The white and the gold should stay, but the underneath here is going to go really quite dark, though it could just stay light just to spite me, just to prove me wrong. But anyhow, we're going to leave this one sit overnight, and we'll be back shortly and we'll cut it open and see what we've got going on the inside. Okay, we are ready to cut into our Sugar and Spice soap. It is smelling so good, and I love the top of this one. Really like those gentle swirls that go through the white on here. Now I'm actually going to put this into my cutter so that my little gingerbreads are on the outer edge, and that's as I pull this down, the edge of my cutter doesn't knock into any of the gingerbreads, damaging them. So let's get it all lined up and make sure that they are all nice and safe. Looks like they are. And let's cut through. Now it has been sitting here for a couple of days, so it's a little bit firmer than what it usually is, but thunk goes Ida, and let's take a look. Alright, that is the inside. I love those swirls, and you can see that dark ring around here, and that's going to show how dark this soap is going to get, like the back of this one too. But this soap's definitely going to come up a bit more darker, the same color as my little gingerbreads, and then all this color in the middle should remain nice and light. I really do like using this fragrance in the soap. It's just a Sugar and Spice one. There is another. Oh, that's got a beautiful swirl. It looks like a coffee creamer on the top of that one. Really pleased with it. And here is another one. So you can probably hear some of the noise going on in the background. I was meant to cut these soaps this morning, but we've had a lot of laughter and giggling coming in from next door, so I'm trying to get some done while they're all having their little lunch breaks. So let's take a look at another one. I love how fine and wispy this one is. Let's grab a couple more. There we go. So there it is. There is the Sugar and Spice soap, and this one should be available around the end of October, beginning of November. I'll have more accurate dates when I go to actually edit this video, and I'll pop them up on the screen for you. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I've made this year's Sugar and Spice video or soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.